Finally, Ho opened his eyes, looked around, and said, "By the way, where are Sniff and Scurry? Do you think they know something we don't?" Him scoff. What would they know? Him continue. They are just mice. They just respond to what happens. We are little people. We are smarter than mice. We should be able to figure this out. I know we are smarter, Hall said, but we don't seems to be acting smarter at the moment. Things are changing around here. Him maybe we need to change and do things differently. Why should we change? Him asks. We are little people, we are special. This sort of thing should not happen to us. Or if it does, we should at least get some benefits. Why should we get benefits? Ho asks. Because we are entitled, him claim. Entitled to what? Ho wanted to know. We are entitled to our cheese. Why? Ho asked. Because we didn't cause this problem. Him said somebody else did this and we should get something out of it. Ho suggested maybe we should simply stop analyzing the situation so much and go find some new cheese. Oh no, him argue. I'm going to get the bottom of this while him and Ho were still trying to decide what to do. Steph and Scurry were already well on their way. They went further into the maze, up and down corridors, looking for cheese in every situation they could find. They didn't think of anything else but finding new cheese. They didn't find any of some time until they finally went into an area of the maze where they had never been before. Cheese situation, cheese station, and they squealed with delighted. They skilled with delighted. They found what they had been looking for, a great supply of new cheese. They could hardly believe their eyes. It was the biggest store of cheese the mice have ever seen. In the meantime, him and Haw were still back in cheese station C, evaluating their situation. They were now suffering from the effect of having no cheese. They were becoming frustrated and angry and were blaming each other for the situation they were in. Now and then Haw thought about his mice friends Sniff and Scurry and wondered if they had been found any cheese yet. He believed they might be having a hard time as running through the maze usually involves some uncertainty, but he also knew that it was likely to only last for a while. Sometimes Haw would imagine Sniff and Scurry finding new cheese, enjoying it. He thought about how good it would be for him to be out on an adventure in the maze and to find fresh new cheese. He would almost taste it. The more clearly Haw saw the image of himself finding and enjoying the new cheese, the more he saw himself leaving the cheese station. See, let's go, he exclaimed all of a sudden. No, him quickly responded, I liked it here. It's comfortable. It's what I know. Beside, it's dangerous out there. No, it isn't. How argue? We have run through many parts of the maze before and we can do it again. I'm getting too old for that, him said, and I'm afraid I'm not interested in getting lost and making a fool of myself, are you? With that, all fears of failing returned and his hope of finding new cheese faded. So every day, the little people continued to do what they had done before. They went to cheese station C, found no cheese, and returned home carrying their worries and frustration with them. They tried to deny what was happening but found it harder to get to sleep, had less energy. The next day, they were becoming irritable. Their homes were not the nurturing place they once were. The little people had difficulty sleeping and were having nightmares about not finding any cheese. But Ham and Haw still returned to Cheese Station C and waited there every day. Ham said, if we just work hard, we'll find that nothing has really changed that much. Cheese is probably nearby. Maybe they just hide it behind the wall. The next day, him and Haw returned with tools. Him held the chisel, and whilst Haw banged on the hammer until they made a hole in the wall of Cheese Station. They peered inside but found no cheese. They were disappointed but believed they could solve the problem, so they started earlier, stay longer, and work harder. But after a while, all they had was a large hole in the wall. How was beginning to realize the difference between activity and productivity. How was beginning to realize the difference between activity and productivity. Maybe him said we should sit here and see what happens sooner or later. They have to put the cheese back. How wanted to believe that, so each day he went home to rest and return, reluctant, reluctantly, with him to cheese station C, but cheese never reappeared. But now the little people were growing weak from hunger and stress. How was getting tired of just waiting for their situation to improve. He began to see that the longer they stayed in their cheeseless situation, the worse off they would be. Haw knew they were losing their age. Finally, one day, Haw begins laughing at himself. Haw haw, look at us. We keep doing the same things over and over and wonder why things don't get better. If this wasn't so ridiculous, it would be even funnier. Haw did not like the idea of having to run through the maze again because he knew he would get lost and have no idea where he would find any cheese. But he had to laugh at his folly when he saw what his fear was doing to him. He asked him, where did you put our running shoes? It was a long time to find them because they had put everything away when they found their cheese at Cheese Station C, thinking they wouldn't be needing them anymore. As Ham saw his friend getting into his running gear, he said, "You're not really going out into the maze again, are you? Why don't you just wait here with me until they put the cheese back?" Because you just don't get it, Hall said. I didn't want to see it either. But now I realize they are never going to put yesterday cheese back. It's time to find new cheese. Him argue. But what if there is no cheese out there? Or even if there is, what if you don't find it? I don't know. Hall said he had asked himself those same questions too many times and felt the fear again that keep him where he was. He asked himself, where am I more likely to find cheese, here or in the maze? He painted a picture in his mind. He saw himself venturing out into the maze with a smile on his face. While his picture surprised him, it made him feel good. He saw himself getting lost now and then in the maze, but felt confident he would eventually find new cheese out there, all the good things that came with it. He gathered his courage. Then he used his imagination to paint the most believable picture he could with the most realistic tales of him finding and enjoying the taste of new cheese. He saw himself eating Swiss cheese with holes in it, bright orange cheddar, and American cheese, Italian mozzarella, and wonderful soft French camembert cheese. And then he heard him sauce him say something and realized they were still at cheese station C.